You described Monday's episode as pure cinema to me, so...
Honestly, Vic,
big shoes.
honestly, Steven Spielberg could not have directed it better himself. Hello and welcome back to Why Won't You Watch Corrie, the podcast where I, Emily, try to convince my sister Vic to watch Coronation Street. I started watching in January, and what began as a casual experiment has somehow become my favourite hobby.
Some might say an obsession.
I would say dedication. And Vic, this week, I think Corrie has rewarded me for it.
That is a bold statement.
Because after weeks of guessing,
And speculating,
overanalyzing,
wild accusations,
we finally get an answer to the whodunnit.
which means we can finally stop accusing absolutely everybody.
No promises.
Okay, fine. So what else have we got?
Well, the stats report has produced some genuinely record-breaking numbers this week.
I'm not sure your made-up statistics are ever record-breaking.
The stats report never lies.
Okay, I'm still waiting for someone to audit that.
Good luck. The methodology is unique.
That's one way of putting it.
Plus, we've got Behind the Cobbles, all the week's biggest stories, all the usual segments, and of course, another update on the Corrie Conversion Project.
Still accepting applications.
Always. So whether you're fully converted, Corrie curious, or simply wondering whether my theories are genius or completely delusional,
I'm saying delusional.
let's get into it. This week on Corrie. Okay, Vic, are you ready? This has been an exceptionally hot week in the UK.
Oh my god, I'm melting, but let's talk Corrie.
Melting. Now, I should add to listeners, if you can hear the sound of fans in the background, I'm sorry, they will not be going off.
Nope.
I am not even a human at this point.
I'm a puddle. Empty shell of who I used to be.
It's so hot.
Same.
But luckily, I think we've only got another day of it and then it cools down.
Yeah.
Now, I would also like to add to any people who are listening outside of the UK and haven't experienced a UK heat wave, I challenge you to come and try this out. Because it's not for the weak.
It's not.
It is not for the weak.
It's not for the faint-hearted people.
It's not. I have done an Australian summer and I would argue that this is worse than that.
I mean, that is saying something. That gets hot. But, you know.
Yeah.
We're just here with our poxy little fans. We're not coping.
I know. No air conditioning. I have to go and hang out in the supermarket just for some cool air. I did. I hung out in a supermarket for 40 minutes the other day, literally just staring at milk. I was like, I don't need to be here.
Yeah.
Luckily for Corrie, they didn't have to experience the heat wave this month because they filmed it 6 to 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, they didn't know it was happening.
Alas, they did not know. But what they did know, Vic, we will get into that. But before we do, we have a pickup from last week. Last week, I think as we were going through the outro, I mentioned that I had no idea that Fizz had been in prison, and asked Icewoman 1887 to help us out, and they have.
Wonderful.
So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So Fizz went to prison in mid-2011. It all has to do with Fizz's husband, John, Hope's father. John stole the identity of his former colleague, Colin Fishwick. John was a teacher but had an affair with Rosie Webster, who is Sally Webster, Sally Metcalf, and Kevin's oldest daughter.
Right.
John stole Colin's identity so he could return to teaching. Fizz left him when she found out, but soon learned that she was pregnant with Hope, and the two got back together. Colin had been out of the country for the months that John had been using Colin's identity, so he was unaware of what was going on. A colleague, Charlotte, of John and Colin had been aware of what John was doing. Colin found out and started blackmailing John for money. Colin showed up to meet John and Charlotte for the money, but suddenly dropped dead. John, fearing that people would think that he had killed Colin, had Charlotte help him to hide the body in the floor of Underworld until they decided what to do next. Underworld was being repaired following the siege when Carla's husband Tony had held Carla and Hayley Cropper hostage and set fire to Underworld, with himself and Carla still inside. John returned to the building site to retrieve the corpse, but it was buried under a load of cement.
Uh-oh.
Charlotte wanted John for herself and was blackmailing John to leave Fizz. In December 2010, when John told her that he couldn't leave Fizz, Charlotte became hysterical and attempted to attack him with a hammer. He wrestled the hammer from her and she told him that she was going to reveal the truth to Fizz. As she reached the front door, John hit her in the back of the head with the hammer, killing John. Killing her. John was just about to call the police when the tram crash happened. John moved Charlotte's body outside and her death was thought to have happened because of the tram crash. John later killed Colin's mother, Joy, when she began looking into Colin's disappearance, and because John had stolen Colin's identity, this led Joy to John.
Yep.
I believe John and Fizz, desperate for money, following Hope's premature birth, claimed Colin's inheritance. John sent Fizz in to claim the money as Colin's wife. When the police began to look into it, Fizz then confessed to her part to the crime, and so the police arrested Fizz for the murder of Colin Fishwick. After examining all the evidence in the interview, the police decided to drop the charge for murder. However, they charged her for fraudulently claiming the inheritance. Fizz was then remanded in custody. Fizz was in jail for several months, and Hope was there with Fizz for part of it.
Aw.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. I tell you what, Vic, we are learning.
Everyone in Corrie's been in prison, Em. What are you talking about?
I mean, to be honest, at this point, they might as well move Weatherfield Prison to Coronation Street.
Exactly.
But hey-ho. Anyway, that's enough of the past. Into the new. Are you ready for this week, Vic?
Let's go.
Let's go. I have been keeping you in anticipation all week because I told you on Monday that I knew who the killer was.
Yeah.
And I did not tell you. Let me ask you, have you Googled it?
I have not.
You have not. So have you come across it?
I have not.
So you have no idea who as killer is?
I have zero clues. All I know is that they did a traitor-style round table.
Did you enjoy that? You saw my TikTok post,
I didn't watch it all because I didn't want anything to be ruined. So I saw like the first bit and I was like, no.
I don't think the post ruins anything, but
okay,
I
fine.
could be wrong. But you can watch it today anyway, so that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, Vic, this week, this storyline. In fact, it's not even this week. It's just Monday's episode. Monday's episode was incredible. So Monday's episode...
I mean, you described Monday's episode as pure cinema to me, so...
Honestly, Vic,
big shoes.
Honestly, Steven Spielberg could not have directed it better himself.
Oh yeah, okay. Cool.
Like, the music choices, the camera angles, the directorial vision, the writing, the acting, the production accounts team, because they always need a shout out.
Of course.
I mean, there was not one thing about this that wasn't incredible. So let me tell you about it. I can't even remember what else happened on Monday.
Start at the beginning, Emily.
It's a very good place to start. So yeah, basically, Kit is meant to be going out for lunch with Sarah on Monday. Sarah cancels on him, and he's sat in Coronation Street still waiting for her when he's talking to Brodie, and notices that she comes out of the factory on her lunch break and goes and speaks to Gary. So he then follows her and listens in on the conversation and hears them, and they're basically just having a stressed out conversation about what also happens on Monday is Lisa and the police have decided to do an appeal for evidence for the murder, and that we hear that on the radio, and it's Danielle, Theo's ex-wife, is doing the appeal, and then Lisa Swain comes on after and is like, if you've got any evidence, blah 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 blah, and Gary hears it in Roy's and it obviously freaks him out. So that's why him and Sarah have this chat. And he's like, you've got to sort this out, Sarah. Like, they think it's me. You need to sort this out. Do something about it, kind of thing. There's another point where Gary and Sarah are having a secret chat and Maria sees. So there's all these, like, secret chats going on. Anyway, Sarah is in the Rovers with Todd and Summer. Kit joins. And they're talking about their dinner that they're having. And Sarah decides to invite Todd and Summer for dinner. Obviously, she didn't know that Kit was meant to be proposing to her and it was going to be this really romantic dinner. So he's a little bit annoyed about it, but that's what it is. So then he decides to invite Maria and Gary to dinner. So now we have... so now we have our dinner party planned. And our dinner party, just to repeat, Sarah, Gary, Kit, Maria, Summer, Todd. These are our 6. Now, as we know, Maria thinks that Sarah and Gary are having an affair. So she is like fuming with this whole situation. Because Gary's going to Kit, oh no, don't worry, we're not going to come to your dinner party, it's fine. And Maria's like, no, we're going to go.
Excellent.
And honestly, Vic, everything... so then when we get to the dinner party, everything about this episode, from the way that they're like cutting the cucumber, and I know that sounds ridiculous, to setting the place settings... it was cinema, Vic. It was pure cinema. It was so good.
Right.
Todd and Summer rock up first. Summer is drunk. Absolutely
Already?
love drunk Summer. She rocks up drunk, and the reason Summer is drunk is because she's decided that she's not going to go to America anymore. You know, she was toying with going to America for she's decided she's not going to go, so she decides to get drunk, and then she rocks up with 2 bottles of white wine. And I thought, you know what, this Summer I can get on board with. I like her. She's much more entertaining than the mopey, angry Summer we've had for weeks now.
Fair.
So, and she was hilarious. Then Maria and Gary rock up. And it's awkward because Maria walks in and sees Sarah looking really lovely and goes, oh, look, Gary, Sarah's dressed up for you. And then Kit's like, hey, Sarah, why don't you go and show everyone the paint samples in the bedroom? And so she takes them all in, and then Kit goes, actually, Gary, can you stay back, please? And then so he starts having this chat with Gary and is basically like, I know it's you. I will get you. Like, you know, kind of thing. And Gary's pulling this awkward face.
Yeah.
And also on top of this, Todd still thinks that it's Sarah and Gary having this affair. So at one point he pulls Sarah to one side and is like, mate, this is really fucking awkward, kind of thing. Obviously doesn't swear, pre-Watershed. So Maria in this episode is fantastic. And we will go through why as we go. But there's one point where Kit goes, actually when Kit goes, Gary, can you stay back? And Todd's like, oh no, I'll stay back. And he's like, no, Gary can stay back. And then Maria turns around and goes, don't worry, I'm sure Gary's seen Sarah's bedroom enough times. I was just like, oh. And then at one point someone goes, don't be shy, help yourself. And then Maria goes, well, Sarah certainly does.
So much shade being thrown.
So much shade. It was incredible. And because Summer is drunk through all of this shade, her facial reactions that she's pulling to all of this is hilarious. Anyway, they all sit down for dinner, and I don't even think they've got to first course by the time Maria decides to stand up and make a toast.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
And she says, to Gary and Sarah, they've been at it for weeks. And then she goes, I always knew you'd be back in her bed. It's like riding a bike. The town bike. Anyway, so Gary won't admit it because at the end of her speech, she's going, just admit it, Gary, just admit it. He obviously won't.
Yeah.
So she storms out.
Okay.
He follows her. He's like, I can't get into this. He follows her. And what do we get as the viewer? We get a flashback. So this is how we find out what's happened. And our flashback is this. The night of the murder, Sarah Platt leaves the wedding.
Okay.
The Swala wedding, and she is looking for Todd.
Right.
And she goes to the flat to try and find him. He's ringing his phone, and she hears it ringing because obviously Theo has it in the house. And she follows the sound of the phone, goes out, and Theo is on the scaffolding.
Right.
They kind of have this conversation / argument, and it gets quite heated. And Theo is really mean, as standard, and is basically like, you know. I knew you and you always fancied him. I knew you'd end up back together. There's a reason your baby died, because remember that those two had their baby. I can't remember what he said, but he was just really mean about it. So Sarah pushed him. He stumbles back, he stumbles forward, and he lurches towards her. So then she grabs the lead piping, smacks him over the head. He falls off the scaffolding and is dead. And that is our murderer. Sarah Platt.
Oh my goodness.
Did you expect it? Did you see it coming?
I mean, no, I thought there would be so much other better options, but you know, Sarah Platt works. She's done things like this before, has she not?
I don't know if she actually has. What did annoy me is straight after the murder, Corrie Nation Street did that post on Insta where they've said the 6 suspects, and they were all stood with a placard in front of a lineup, and Sarah Platt wasn't on that.
No.
So I feel like we had an unfair. She wasn't one of my suspects, because they gave us, as far as I was concerned, they gave us the suspects.
Yeah.
I feel like they cheated us out of this game here.
I agree. The question is, will she get caught?
So,
Now that we know.
let me continue.
Okay.
So she then, obviously, as we know, she's pushed Theo over the balcony. She's now down with him on the floor and is like checking his pulse and is like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, come on. So who does she call? She calls Gary.
Okay.
And she's like, Gary, you've got to help me with this. Why she didn't call the police and say self-defence? Don't know.
Yep.
Why she didn't call Kit? And again, so he would have said self-defence. So she calls Gary. Gary covers it up for her. He basically gets Todd's phone and sends a message from it before he throws it away. He does something to the body, but he, more importantly, tells her to make sure she's seen, so she's got an alibi.
Oh, okay.
So then obviously she runs back home, makes sure she's seen, but then obviously she goes back, and then she gets the biggest alibi of all, because she then gets hit over the head by the sister.
Yeah.
So hence why she was never a suspect. So yes, that is whodunit. That was obviously Monday, so the story continues. Gary goes to speak to Maria to basically be like, I'm not cheating on you.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't, because ultimately he knows, I think, that he's in as much trouble as Sarah, that he's covered up a murder as much as she's done the murder.
Yeah.
So Platters goes to see Gary and is like, look, Kit, we can't, like, help me, please don't dob me in.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I won't, but you need to sort this out, Sarah, like, you really need to sort it out. And then Gary goes, does Kit think we're having an affair? And she said, no, Kit doesn't think we're having an affair. Kit thinks that you killed Theo and he will come and arrest you at some point. And Carrie's like, well, you need to not, maybe don't let that happen.
Yeah. Protect me too.
Yeah. So then at one point, Platters is at home and Kit's there, and she decides he's got his like police notepad, and he's like, I've got to go into the station, I've had an epiphany on the case. He goes to have a shower or get changed, and she decides to rummage through his bag to see what he's written. Oh, no. As she's rummaging through, she finds the engagement ring. As she finds the engagement ring, Kit finds her looking in the bag. And she like plays it off and says that one of the people who knew that she was getting engaged to told her, Brody. She's saying that Brody told her. She actually doesn't. I've noticed this thing with Sarah Platt. She's very good at not saying anything and letting people come to their own conclusion and not correcting them. She's done it a few times. She did it with Todd and the affair situation. Yeah. She's now done it with Kit and the ring. I was like, that's interesting. Todd goes to speak to Sarah Platt on Tuesday and is like, I don't think that you and Gary are having an affair. I think that Gary killed Theo and you're covering up for him. And she loses her shit, and she basically starts yelling at him and is like, I'm so sick of everyone playing amateur detective. And I was like, I know she's yelling because she's covering up the fact she murdered him, but I agree. Yeah. Why are we all playing amateur detective? Like, I mean,
clearly the police aren't doing it.
I mean, to be fair, I would totally do it too, but it'd be sequel squirrels at home.
You wouldn't go confront the person you thought was a murderer, would you?
I mean, Todd has confronted more people than the police, I think, at this point.
The police seem to be slightly delayed in anything here, so,
Literally. Anyway, Kit then goes and chats to Gary and is like, I know it's you, and then they have an argument in the street. Todd approaches and comes over and breaks it up, pushes Kit away, is talking to Gary, and is obviously quite, because at this point Todd thinks it's Gary, and then Gary just blurts out and goes, it's not me, a lot closer to home, or something like that, which gets Todd's brain whirling. So then Todd then goes back to speak to Sarah Platt, and they have a chat. And it gets heated, and Todd goes, you have to swear on our little boy's life that it wasn't, I can't remember if he said it wasn't you or if it was Gary, but it was basically making swear on the life. And she bursts into tears and tells Todd everything.
Okay.
Obviously Todd's not happy. Todd storms out.
Yep.
Sarah Platt is therefore stressed because she's like, fuck, I'm going to go to prison. He knows, he's unhappy about it. Todd goes off, he ends up back at the Undertaker's for a little bit. Sarah ends up in the Rovers, absolutely off her face pissed. Brilliant. Wonderful. Loved it. Excellent. Scenes. Like, honestly, this was Thursday's episode. She's dancing around. She makes a few comments when she's drunk about how it's her, she's got to enjoy it while she's free.
Oh, Jesus.
And her brothers, Nick and David, come to collect her, but they kind of let her continue to be drunk for a while in the pub before eventually being like, let's take her out.
Yeah, don't want to break up the fun.
Yeah, I know, well, fair. Anyway, Todd walks in and goes, Sarah, can I have a word? So he takes her outside and she has a word with her, and he basically says that he's not going to tell the police on her. He's going to keep his secret for her.
Right.
But he never wants to speak to her again. Their friendship is over. Now, actually, he turns around and he says, you took away my right to see Theo in court, and I wanted to see him pay for what he had done to me and wanted him to realise that he couldn't hurt me anymore and all of that. And and that was a lot of the comments that came out after Theo had died, that people were pissed off that hadn't happened, and I do agree with that, actually. But, yeah, he doesn't want anything to do with Sarah anymore, but he's also not going to dob her in. So...
I mean, that's nice, I guess.
Yeah.
To not...
Yeah.
Catch a murderer, but
yeah,
it's sad that their friendship couldn't survive, but I get it.
Yeah, exactly. But that is where we currently are with the whodunit. We know, they don't know. The police still don't know. So the real question is who's going to go down for it?
Yeah, somebody's
at this point.
Exactly. It's not going to become a cold case, is it? And they're just never going to solve it.
I mean, I don't think they'll allow that to happen. I wonder whether Gary will go. They'll get Gary for it somehow, but there's no evidence really. And then he'll blab and say no, it was Sarah, or whether Kit will find out, and then maybe because he wants to protect his job and his missus, will maybe find someone to pin it on.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the people to pin it on is getting less and less. So unless he's going to be like, yeah, it was some random guy.
Yeah, like, you know this extra that it was Kirk.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, don't know. Don't know how. I don't know enough about soap to tell you how this is going to evolve. No. Now. One thing that happens at the end with the Sarah being drunk is she gets taken home that night. Nick and David Platt and Jodie are there, and they decide that Jodie and Nick take her home.
Okay.
Drunk. Which is important for our next storyline. Okay, Vic, storyline 2 of the week. We've got our whodunit. Now let's see if we can get a resolution on the sister. Yeah. Because this is just the story that won't give up.
It won't give anything either.
I know, literally. I know nothing about what's going on still. There's still nothing.
Okay.
But, so, basically this week, our sister storyline involves Shona, David's sister, a little bit of Platters, little bit of Ryan Connor.
Oh, okay.
So... Shona has agreed for Sarah Platt that she's going to make a Tin Man outfit for Sarah's son for school, for his school play. But then David comes home and he wants to take Shona out for dinner for the night, so David asks sister to make the tinfoil outfit. She agrees. They go out for a date. She's obviously a little bit jealous, so she then gets on a dating app and matches with someone. And it's obviously someone entertaining because of the face she pulls. The next day, she goes for an afternoon date with none other than Ryan Connor. Okay. And I was like, no, don't, because he's so sweet. Like, I love Ryan. He's such a nice human. Obviously, we know him a lot from the Deb storyline at this moment in time. Yeah. Because he's just really good with her and her dementia.
Was he the butler? The guy they dress up?
Yes, okay. It's the butler.
Fine.
He lives in the Swala household. He's got a really lovely relationship with Betsy, Lisa's daughter. Yeah. Like a brother-sister kind of dynamic, which is really sweet, and I really enjoy watching that. But genuinely, he just seems like a really nice guy. But, yeah, so they go on this date, and she is not interested, really. She's paying him no attention at some point. So because he works shifts, they've had to go for a late lunch, early dinner. And he turns around and he says, they should call it dunch. Like... I think it's quite funny now I've said it out loud. and sister just kind of went, huh, okay. And then David Platt walks in and she goes, wine back, did you just say dunch? Oh my god, that's so funny. And then like to everyone is like, did you hear this? Like dunch, oh my god, you should put that on the menu. And it's like all over it, and it's just like grossly flirting. Yeah. Like not like, it's so transparent. Thankfully, they have their date, and at the end of the date, Ryan's like, she's like, oh, should we go for a drink somewhere else? And Ryan's like, no, I think there's no spark. Let's just be friends. And I was like, thank goodness for that, because I didn't want to have to experience that storyline. Then later on, Sister takes herself to the Rovers for a drink, and that's when David Platt comes in to pick up Sarah Platt. So she then joins the Platt table with Sarah Platt. She then volunteers to help take her home with Nick.
Okay.
They get back. Nick has to go off to the bistro. I think he's got something to do. So it's her alone. They have a cup of tea together. Obviously, Sarah Platt's still really drunk, and they're talking about the attack where she got hit over the head.
Yep.
And Sister turns around and says, well, at least the dog's not barking this time. And Sarah Platt goes, wait, how did you know the dog was barking?
Oh, no.
So Sister kind of panics and goes, anyway, it's time for bed, I'm going to go to bed. Goes upstairs, and the camera just pans in on Sarah's face like, what?
Oh
I think she's
God.
so I'm hoping that this is the beginning to the end of the Sister storyline, because is anybody enjoying it at this point?
I'm a bit confused by it, I'm not going to lie.
I'm confused by it. I want Brian to have his book back. Like,
Bernie can get her head back.
Bernie can get her head back. Lisa can get her badge back.
I mean, hopefully she's replaced that by now. So
I would hope so also. Then we've got the gun, the floating gun.
Yeah.
Like,
somebody's
there's
going to want that back.
There's a lot of stuff in the Sisters Pandora's box. Like,
how big is this box?
Not big enough for a gun.
Okay. Okay.
I would argue. It's like a shoebox size. So yes, it would fit a gun, but probably not a gun and a book.
Well, I mean, it's quite deep.
Okay, yeah, valid point. All right, yes, okay, fine. It would fit both items. Okay. You are correct. But yeah, let's just get this storyline wrapped up now, please.
Yeah.
I'm so done with this.
If it's going to continue, can I have some context as to what the fudge is going on with her?
Honestly, just give us a bit more, because they're not giving us enough for it to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the problem. It's just confusing and dull.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit more. I think I stand by. We've said it before. We'll say it again. I don't think the writers know what they're doing with it. So they're just teetering along until they work it out.
Fair enough. Well, chop chop.
And we're going to move on to storyline 3 of the week. And we are talking Summer and her little gang of friends.
Okay.
So, as we know, this is going to be a new story. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I'm feeling like I'm getting to grips with the Corrie structure now. And this is going to be a new story. I'm telling you now. Okay. Summer is drunk a lot this week. We know on Monday she was drunk. She was also drunk on Tuesday.
Excellent.
So Tuesday she's catching up with her mates at Roy's, telling them about the dinner party the night before.
Yeah.
And then when they're there, so her mates are Nina, who lives with Roy and works in the cafe. Mm-hmm. Asha, who is Dev's daughter. Her, Summer, and Amy Barlow, who's Tracy and Steve McDonald's daughter. So this is her gang, when I'm referring to her gang. They're all probably early 20s, I guess.
Okay.
Would be my guess. Dev comes running in and speaks to Asha and says, can you help me out? I need to paint the flat. The flat being Todd and Theo's old flat. So obviously that was owned by Dev, so he's now renting it back out to new tenants.
Right.
So he convinces Summer and the gang that they should have a sip and paint party in the flat.
Nice.
Obviously, this is tough for Summer, because the last time she was in that flat, Theo was threatening her, right? Yeah. So she's a bit apprehensive about it. So she then gets quite drunk whilst they're having this paint party, and it's entertaining and I enjoy it greatly. But then they start having a paint fight. To which Dev walks in during paint fight, gets really angry and is like, how am I supposed to rent this out now? You've ruined the house. And then Dev's daughter Asha turns around and says, well, rent it out to me. And he says, you can't afford it by yourself. So Nina turns around and says, no, I'll move in with her. So it'll be those two living together. Now, at that point, when Dev left, he said, no, you can't. As he left, the other two friends were like, is this a good idea, you two living together? So there's some history there. I have a feeling that they dated at some point. If anyone could confirm that, that would be great. But, so then the next day, basically, Asha walks up to Dev, takes the keys for the flat, and is like, I live there now. It's my house.
Okay.
So her and Nina move into the flat.
So is that how that getting a flat works? Because I should have known that sooner.
Literally, you just find the landlord, you grab the keys, and you say, I live in this house now. Honestly, that would save so many people in Bristol so much angst when it comes to renting a house, because the housing market here is brutal.
Might cause a few more fights, but you know.
Yeah, no. If that is the rules, that's the rules. Just grab the keys and go.
Solved.
So they decide to move in. Nina's a bit nervous about telling Roy, because obviously she currently lives with Roy, and they have like their lovely like little Scrabble evenings, and they hang out, and they like, But then unfortunately Roy hears through Bernie and Brian talking about it in the shop when Bernie's trying to buy Asher a card to say congratulations on your new home.
Yeah.
And I was a bit like, oh no, and it made me really sad. And I was like, how's he going to react? And do you want to know how he reacted?
Probably like a perfect man, and was like,
he rocked up with a box, and he gave it to Nina, and she's like, oh Roy, I've been meaning to speak to you. And he said, well, before you do, can you just have this? And she opened it, and he'd bought her a train teapot for her new home for a housewarming. And I was just like, oh, Roy Cropper, you are the perfect man. I absolutely love him with all of my heart.
Now, I don't know how old Roy Cropper is, but I feel like he's the nation's granddad at this point.
I think Ken Barlow is the nation's granddad.
Fine.
I think Roy Cropper is the nation's granddad's younger brother.
Okay, fine. Okay, cool. That works.
Yeah. Just to be clear, they are not related as far as I'm aware. But who knows?
Isn't everyone related to Ken Barlow? Isn't this what we've decided?
All roads lead back to Ken Barlow. So that happens, and then Summer, obviously, as we know, she got drunk Monday, Tuesday. Then the next episode, she decides that she's going to go and buy Nina and Asher a load of housewarming presents, and she does, and she buys them a lot. Then she decides to take them out for dinner, and it's all her treat. And you can just tell she's not okay. Mm-hmm. Summer is not okay. I feel like this girl has a lot of stress on her shoulders, but I think this is starting to come to a head. But one thing that happens when they're out for dinner, there is a girl on an adjoining table who overhears that Summer's paying for everything and happens to just walk over and is like, oh, you guys seem really cool. Why don't you come out with us? And then one by one, all of her friends are like, no. But Summer's like, yeah, I'll come out with you. So I feel like Summer's about to get taken advantage of in the wrong crowd. But this is the start of this story, I think. I don't know where we're going to go with it.
Okay.
But that's where we are. Okay, let's move on to our next storylines of the week. And they're all quite small from this point. Okay. We've got Will. We've got an update on Will. So obviously Will's been speaking to Megan on his gaming headset. That has continued this week. At one point, Susie picks up the gaming headset and ends up speaking to the teacher. Oh. Susie lets this slip to Will's brother. Will's brother tells the mother-in-law. The mother-in-law snatches Will's headset from his head and is like, who is this? And it just so happens that it's Hope. It's not the teacher. I know. However, this does lead Will to turn around to the teacher and be like, do you know what? I'm going to get in trouble. This is too much effort. I'm not talking to you on this anymore. Teach is like, well, can you just come and meet me? I just need to talk to you. So he does go to meet her, and she's all like, you don't know how hard this is for me. I'm going to go to prison. I loved you. I really loved you. Like, please don't do this to me. And then Will turns around and goes, did you love me when you got one ticket to go to Paris? Yes, Will. So the court case is coming up. Feel like the court case is next week, from little things they were saying, mainly when they said the court case is next week. That was their big clue.
That's a good giveaway, yeah.
It was a good giveaway, so I'm really hoping that he hasn't fallen for her trap and that he does actually get her. I hope she gets got for her crimes.
Yeah, she gets what's coming to her.
Exactly. We've got a little bit this week from Big Bad Boldy and Debster. Yeah. So Ronnie, so you know last week the gun had gone missing and Fiona was like, you get me my gun back or you're in trouble. So Ronnie goes to speak to Fiona and says, I'll pay you off. And she said, I don't want your money, but you owe me one. And that was kind of that. So that's definitely going to come back to haunt him.
Yep.
Debster's still pretty stressed out about the gun. She goes to speak to, at one point, because obviously at the end of last week it was the baby shower, and the balloon had popped, and when she'd yelled at Tracy in Tracy's face and said, don't take my gun, or something like that. So Tracy's been telling everyone that Debster's worried about this gun situation. And at one point, she's like, Debbie goes, I'll sort it. And as she leaves the building, she goes, don't worry, leave this to the Debster. And I was like, yes, Debbie.
Oh, bless.
And, yeah. And she does walk in, she talks to Tracy, and I think she puts it all down to her dementia and and that seems to have put a pin in it.
Okay.
That seems to be that story so far. We'll see where we end up.
Yeah.
Don't know.
It's coming back at some point, isn't it?
I'm sure. I feel like from everything I've heard of Tracy Barlow, she likes to hold grudges on people, and if she feels scorned, that's coming back.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
A little bit from Has Potts. Yeah. A little bit from Has Potts at the beginning of the week. Roy goes to see Harry on Monday and goes to play chess with him because that was always their thing.
Yeah.
Harry Potter loses the game and gets angry and throws the chess set off the table. Very dramatic.
Love it.
Roy leaves and Sam yells at Roy. Roy leaves. Later, Sam comes back out and talks to Nick and is basically saying, before, I wouldn't have made that silly mistake before. That's why I'm angry. The medication is making my brain dull. So that's going to crop up. That's going to be the continuation of this story, I'm sure, is perhaps maybe him staying on the meds, what the meds are doing to him, etc.
He's probably going to stop taking the meds if he gets out.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? And then we had Brian back this week. He was in every episode this week, which I enjoyed greatly. He had no storyline. He just added to others.
Okay.
But I enjoyed his screen time, and I found out that he used to be a teacher. So... Brian, yeah. And we also had some Kirk time this week.
Oh,
again,
yay.
No real storyline. He was in Roy's Rolls and was buying a coffee, and he said, I'll have a Karma coffee, and everyone was like, ha ha ha, what are you talking about? And he said, when you buy an extra coffee so someone who's skint can have one for free. And Roy was like, oh, I like the name of that. I'm going to change them. From now on, they're called Karma coffees. And I thought that was delightful.
Yeah,
delightful
I like
little
that.
interaction there. This is the Coronation Street Stats Report. This is the part of the show where I go through the numbers of the week. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. I'm melting.
It's okay. We'll get there. It's fine.
Okay, Vic, are you ready? There were some big numbers this week. There were some big numbers.
Record-breaking numbers.
Record-breaking numbers. We're going to start with a new tally.
Oh, okay.
Which is, now bear in mind there were only 3 episodes this week, but the new tally is times when people were really, really drunk. And there was 3 this week, 2 for Summer, 1 for Sarah Platt. And I feel like this is an important tally to have because, do you know what, Vic? I think sometimes drunk people are really funny to watch on screen. So,
yeah,
I feel like that might help you want to watch.
Okay.
Okay, flaming. We had 2 flamings this week.
Oh,
we had
nice.
4 meaningful stares. We had 7 conversations that happened in public that should not have happened in public.
Too many.
They should have happened at home. We had 7 arguments and storm outs. We had 1 fancy a brew because everybody was drinking wine. Everybody was drinking wine. We had 7 gasps, 1 moment I yelled, what are you doing? 8 suspicious behaviour, 2 villain energy, 27 laughs this week. But Victoria, let me tell you, the ultimate tally of the week, the one with the biggest movement for the last 20 weeks that we have been doing this podcast, we have never had a number this high for this category.
Oh no, okay.
Don't be daft. And I don't mean the word daft. I mean the phrase, don't be daft.
I mean, those have maxed out at 3 before, haven't they? So
the most we've had, I think, has been 3 before. And I think that was when I was also just accepting daft because I was so desperate. But this time we had a full don't be daft. Would you like to hazard a guess?
I mean, so you say biggest number there's ever been for this category or biggest number there's ever been?
Oh, for this category. Okay. We had 43 on last week.
I know, that's what
43. There were 44 don't be daft. I'd have been on the phone to you, Vic. Oh my God.
All they've said this episode is don't be daft.
The script writers could not be bothered this week. She said don't be daft. And he said don't be daft. And they all said don't be daft.
It'd be a great episode. No. In that case, I'm going to go with 6.
You shot too high, but you're not far off. We had 5. We had 5 counts of Don't Be Daft this week, Vic. And 4 of them were Sarah Platt Platters was...
She's giving you what you need this week.
She needs to be in this more often. If she's going to be Don't Be Daft in it, everyone, she needs more of a presence in this podcast, in Coronation Street.
Both. I mean, if you're trying to cover up the fact that you murdered someone, but also actually telling everyone, you're going to say Don't Be Daft a lot, right?
I mean, true. If I was under suspicion for murder, I'd be like, don't be daft. Like,
exactly.
Are you joking? Actually, I'd say, are you joking? That's
yeah.
Are you joking? I can murder anyone. But I am southern.
Yeah.
With northern roots.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough nonsense from me, Vic. That is our Coronation Street stats report.
Love it. Love it.
We're moving on to our awards of the week. This is the part of the show where I give out awards just because I can, because do you know what, Vic? This is mine, this is ours, this is your, mine and Legacy Lauren's podcast, and if we want to give out awards, we will.
Yes,
for whatever we want to. And this week we're starting with the usual. We are starting with Villain of the Week, and we have 3.
Okay.
We have got Sister, Standard, Teacher, Standard, and we've got Platters, because Platters we now know is a murderer.
Yeah.
So...
It's got to be Platters, right?
It's got to be Platters.
It's got to be.
This week, Sarah Platt has won our Villain of the Week.
Didn't think it would ever happen. I didn't. But
I didn't think it would ever happen. I mean, I'm not even sure she's won an MVP yet.
I wouldn't. It's an interesting number thing to look at later for you.
Isn't it? So let's move on to our MVP, our most valued player of the week. And we have got 3 options, Vic. We have got Ronnie. Because even though the Debster storyline was quite small this week, I actually don't think he's won the MVP yet for just the way how good he is with Debster and her dementia and that whole storyline. Mm-hmm. Very much enjoying that. But is this his week? Well, let's see.
We'll find out.
Next one, we have got an... I know it's meant to be on screen, this category, but do you know what? It's a made-up reward ceremony. Very prestigious, I know, but if I want to go backstage, I'm going backstage, and this week I'm going for the whole editorial team behind Monday's episode.
Right.
The editor, the exec producer, the writer, the director, the music supervisor, everybody who was included, because I tell you what, Vic, even the music, which I forgot to say, absolutely perfect. Anyway, so the editorial team are second nominees for MVP of the week, and our third nominee for MVP of the week is Sarah Platt for saying "Don't be daft" 4 times.
Right.
And do you know what, Vic? You've heard it here first. Our villain and our MVP are the same character this week. Sarah Platt has won MVP of the week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically just made Monday's episode MVP of the week at one point. So, when did
Monday's
the Don't Be Dafts happen? Because
2 of them were Monday by Sarah Platt. And yes, you're right. If an episode could get MVP, it would be Monday. For the whole time I've been watching Corrie. That includes the Swallow Wedding.
Wow.
Monday's episode was incredible. I cannot stress that enough.
What's the next award then?
So the next award is Comedy Unhinged Moment of the Week. And we have got number 1, which is Christina the cleaner was walking around the Undertaker's house wearing a face mask, and the Undertaker bumps into her and goes, "Oh, what have I told you about walking around the house in a Michael Myers mask?" And that was quite entertaining. It made me laugh. Maybe you had to be there. Number 2 was Summer's reaction to everything at the dinner party on Monday. Mm-hmm. It was just gold. It was so gold. Number 3 was Sarah Platt drunk, but she's got 2 nominations for this. So the first one was Sarah Platt drunk. Nick walks in and goes, "How is my favourite big brother?" Nick goes, "I'm your only big brother." And then Sarah goes, "Well, I don't know. You know Gail. The mysteries are fast and deep." And I was just like, that's so funny. And then the other one, when Sarah was drunk, she really wanted to play on the jukebox, and she had no money, and she's basically going around to everyone in the pub, basically begging them for £1 so she could play on the jukebox. But it was just so funny. She was like playful and and tragic all at the same time. And you can pick, Vic. I don't even know which one of those I'd pick. I will probably pick Sarah Platt, but you can pick.
I mean, she's got 2 awards. Why not give her a third?
And it's a hat trick for Sarah Platt.
But for the Big Brother comment.
Sarah Platt wins.
Not the jukebox.
For the Big Brother. Sarah Platt wins Comedy Unhinged Moment of the Week for calling out Gail for having anonymous children around the UK.
Yep. Yep.
And we have one more award this week, Vic. And I
Sarah Platt?
actually... It's not... funnily enough, it's not for Sarah Platt.
Okay.
And I don't know the name of this award, but I wanted to give Maria an award for her behaviour on Monday and just her calling out Gary and just her. She made Monday's episode for me with her one-liners and just being really angry. So I am going to call this award the Maria Award.
Yeah.
And the Maria Award, henceforth, will be given to somebody who hasn't quite made it to MVP status, but has really made an episode for me for some reason.
Okay.
So Maria wins the first ever Maria Award of the week.
I mean, it had to. You couldn't give that to somebody else, could you?
And that, Vic, are our awards of the week.
I like it. Well done, Sarah Platt. Almost a clean sweep.
Okay, Vic, and we are moving on to Last Orders. Last Orders is the part of the show where we take a character from the street and we decide whether we would go for a drink with them. And I have picked this week Gary Windash.
Okay.
It makes sense. Now, one thing you won't know because you don't watch the show, maybe you should, but he's a fellow ginger. So if that, helps with your decision making here, Vic, thought that was important information.
I will. I mean, it doesn't, but I will shout him out and hope he's doing okay in this hot weather. Public service announcement, are you okay?
Okay, Vic, from everything I've told you thus far about Gary Windash, what are your thoughts?
I feel like now all I can think of is that he's covered up a murder. So,
yeah.
I would want him on my side, just in case I ever needed to cover up a murder. Feel like he'll be a good help there.
Yeah. Loyal, I think is the word you're looking for.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah. Thank you. He's been very loyal. And honestly, I can't really remember much else about him. You've overthrown it all by the murder. Yeah.
I don't think we've spoken... I think our first interaction of Gary Windash was when I was referring to him as the witness, because he was the witness at Todd and Theo's wedding. And he just didn't seem to notice that the dynamic and was really on board with this random surprise wedding, which is odd behaviour. Now, since then, I would say, yes, he's proved to be very loyal to Sarah Platt and helping her cover up a murder. But then also he seems to... Is his loyalty to Sarah overshadowing his loyalty to his wife? That's a question. True. Generally, he's a builder currently. I feel like that's information that may or may not help. He's been quite angry of late. But I quite like Maria, so I feel like he's got to be relatively decent to be with Maria.
Yeah.
This is tricky, actually. This is
a hard
tricky.
One. Yeah.
It is a hard one. So I tell you what, let's base this one purely just on the last couple of weeks where actually he's been super stressed out. There's been lots of secret squirrels. He technically him and Sarah did let Summer go to prison for 3 weeks.
Very true.
Without, and they knew the truth.
Yeah.
So let's go for small talk ability.
I mean, I feel like, as you mentioned, he's a builder, so I think builders do have generally pretty good small talk ability. I agree. They just seem to have a bit of banter, so... Yeah. I think it's going to be high. Maybe like a 4. We got all the way to 5, maybe like a 4.
I think a 4. I think he might be a bit more reserved at the moment because...
He's covering up a murder.
He's got to be careful what he's... Yeah, he's got he's got murder on the brain, so he needs to be careful.
Exactly.
Yeah. Drama risk.
I mean...
10 out of 5.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that
Sarah
is
Platt
high.
walks in, we're buggered.
Honestly. And also, the fact that he's even willing to cover up a murder. This guy, and that didn't seem like drama to him.
Yeah.
This guy knows drama.
Sounds like it.
So we're giving him a 10 out of 5?
Yeah.
Great. Gossip value.
I mean, it's also got to be pretty He's not sharing the gossip though, is he?
He's not sharing it.
So although he knows it, he's
I think
it
a 1.
Yeah. Come on.
Like,
Harry,
he's not shared any of the gossip.
No. Yeah, at least a 1.
Yeah, I think a 1. Yeah. I think a 1. Exit plan needed. Potential. If Platters rocks up, I think we need out.
Yeah, it could get real dramaful real quick, and I'm out. Tapping out.
I love the use of the word dramaful.
Yeah,
Ben.
You're welcome.
That was great. Hey, it could get incredibly dramaful.
Yeah, I mean, if this Corrie's not for making up words, if this Corrie, this podcast, it's too hot.
It's too hot. Yeah, I think exit plan is absolutely needed. I'm not going to lie. Second point probability. I'm going a yes.
Okay.
As long as there's a strong exit plan. Like, I think he would be quite fun. I think he would be all right in the pub. I think you could have a chat. I think he'd be okay. I think you'd be a little bit on edge. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, on a hot sunny day, I'd be like, cool, we'll just have a couple of drinks. There'll be we'll just, a little bit of chit chat.
He's a builder, so he can drink.
He can drink. I don't necessarily think he'd be the life and soul of the party currently, but I would have a second pint with him. But I would maintain that strong exit plan.
Yeah.
With
you
current
on speed dial, just be like...
Literally. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. So overall vibe check. I think it's going to have to be a 3 from me at the moment. What's your thoughts?
I agree. At the moment, I think he's just not... He's not on his full... he's not on game. He's just kind of trying to get through the day, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's just trying to make it through.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, Windash, you're on a 3 currently, but after this case is over, and once we know what's happened, I will happily take him back to the Rovers and see if we can get him up on our ratings, because
unless he's in prison, and then we won't bother.
Unless he's in prison, then, that's a shame. What a shame.
Never mind.
Okay, we are moving on to On the Cobbles. On the Cobbles is the part of the show where Legacy Lauren normally joins us to talk us through some history from On the Cobbles, and Vic and I have to try and work out who, what, where, when and why. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Legacy Lauren is busy this week, so I instead have come up with a quiz for you, Victoria. No. Now, last time we did this, I quizzed you on things that had happened since I had been watching.
Yep.
This time I've had to delve into the archives, rely on Corriepedia, and I'm hoping this is all factually correct, but I have a little quiz for you.
Oh, God.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Great, let's get into it. So this week our quiz is all about Gary Windash. I've decided that we're going to play 2 truths and a lie.
Oh, gosh.
And I have got 3 options for you, and it's all Gary related.
Okay.
So number 1. Mm-hmm. Gary Windash has dated Sarah Platt, Alia, the lawyer, and Carla Connor. Which one of those is a lie?
I'm going to say... I actually want to say Sarah Platt, but I think they have dated.
Why do you think they have dated, Vic? You've never watched the show.
It was just a comment you made earlier about how she gets back into your bed. So...
Oh, good point. Good point. Good listening. I forgot about that.
So for that...
Okay.
I'm just going to go the lawyer.
You're going to go the lawyer?
Yeah.
Okay. Incorrect.
Okay.
So he cheated on Izzy, the mother of his child, with the lawyer.
Okay.
So that was in 2014 and 2015. And then in 2016 to 2018, he was with Sarah Platt. He has never dated Carla Connor.
Well, you never know. Everyone dates everyone in this street.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Carla Connor's dated a lot of other people on the street.
Yeah.
She's been married 5 times, but
go.
it wasn't Gary Windash.
Okay, fine.
Okay, question number 2. Gary Windash has been in the army, he's owned a furniture shop, and he has worked at the Rovers. Which of those is a lie?
I mean, I have no context to this, so this is just a guess.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's... I feel like if you have a local pub, everyone should work there at some point.
Yeah, that's what it was like when we grew up.
Exactly, that's the only reference point I have here.
Yeah.
So was it in the army? What was the second one?
He was in the army, he owned a furniture shop, and he worked at the Rovers.
I feel like the furniture shop is true. I feel like this is a story that you've told me.
Interesting.
Maybe he's never worked. Has he been in the army? Do I go army to builder to... Go army. I don't think he's ever been in the army.
So he was in the army and he had a PTSD storyline. He also owned a furniture shop until recently, where he went back to his building company. Okay. He has never worked at the Rovers.
He's missed out.
Yeah, his mum worked at the Rovers for a bit, apparently, but he has never worked at the Rovers.
Okay. Missed a trick.
Okay. Okay, Vicky, you ready for question number 3?
Yeah, go for it.
Question number 3. Gary Windass has been in court for burglary, GBH, and murder. Which one of those is a lie?
I mean, everyone's been done for murder in this place. So, strike that off.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to make a snap decision. My brain went burglary first. I'm going there.
Okay. Incorrect. He was in court and went to prison for burglary in 2010, I think. He was in murder? Court. He was in court for GBH, for punching David Platt in the face, and he got acquitted from that. But he has never been in court for murder, even though he has in fact murdered someone.
His time might be coming.
His time might be coming. Okay, Vic, and we are moving on. We're moving on to our final but one segment of the show, and this is the part of the show where we go behind the cobbles, where I take you behind the screen and I give you some tidbits, some trivia, some pop culture to give you a little bit more information about Coronation Street as a whole. Mm-hmm. So far, we've had Ian McKellen on the show, we've had live episodes, we've had Painted on Cobbles, we've had the Weatherfield one with Deirdre. We've had the origin story. Yep. But this week, Vic, I thought it would be remiss of me to not talk about the weather.
Okay.
One of the Brits' favourite pastimes, talking about the weather, but particularly this week, where, as I've already talked about many times, and Vic and I have blurted out it's hot, I'm sure countless times through this episode if I haven't edited them all out by this point. But this week has been exceptionally hot in the UK. Yep. So I was curious and I wanted to know how the filming is affected with extreme weather. So yes, let's talk about the weather. So the weather may cause some issues, but it doesn't delay the episodes coming out, because as we know, there's a 6 to 8 week lead time from it being filmed to it appearing on TV. So they have plenty of buffer, and that's why Coronation Street can be resilient. If the unexpected happens, if suddenly there's heavy rain or there's strong winds and it's impossible to shoot, they can switch to filming some scenes inside or outside. It gives them the freedom, that 6 to 8 week lead time, to sort of play around with the filming schedule and move things about. That's why, as viewers, we won't necessarily see disruption. However, there have been times where the weather has caused filming to shut down. Oh, wow. One was in 2010, January 2010, and Northern England was hit with some of the worst snowfall in years. The roads around Manchester became treacherous, public transport struggled, and many members of the cast and crew just couldn't get to work. So ITV Coronation Street had to shut down, which I read somewhere that was the first time in over a decade that they had to shut down because of the weather. They also then had to shut down in 2017 because of Storm Doris. So this time it wasn't the snow that caused problems, it was wind, because obviously filming outside in wind causes issues with obviously picking up the sound. Continuity, there might be things blown about in the background. That's going to give them an absolute headache to try and make sure that all stays consistent. It means that it's a safety hazard for large lighting rigs. So as a result, that meant that in 2017, Storm Doris caused filming to yet again be suspended for a little bit of time. But heat waves, there is no record of any UK heat wave shutting down Coronation Street. And I searched, I was like, 1976 heat wave, how did Corrie do? Could find nothing. The only thing that it says is that they just have to take more precautions, so making sure that the actors stop for regular rehydration breaks, or the makeup needs to be touched up more often because obviously it's just melting off your face. The hair will need regularly restyling. Crew members will need to be protected from, because obviously they spend a lot of time standing with their cameras, so they often have like things over them, and again there's the continuity issue. That's the main thing, because obviously like right now this heat wave's happening in June, and these scenes will go out in probably mid-August. So actually, if everybody's walking around in t-shirt and shorts, that's fine because we're in August. But if the heat wave was to happen in September, and we know that in the UK we quite often get an end of summer heat wave, well then those scenes are going out in October. So you can't have people walking around in shorts and t-shirt in October. So it's always 6 to 8 weeks out of season, the filming. So you'll find that, well, that's why obviously we've watched some where they've probably thought they were dressed appropriately for May. But then we had that heat wave in May. So, you know, and even like they were wearing like light jumpers this week, and it was like, no, take those off, it's too hot. There's another example, and I've actually written a bit more down. So in 2013, they had filmed some scenes in glorious sunshine, because it was a heat wave the week before, but then the following week it was torrential downpours. So like I think it was a wedding they were filming, and so earlier on in the wedding it's like glorious sunshine, and like later on in the wedding it's torrential downpours. Now in all fairness, living in the UK, that's believable that the weather would do that in a day anyway, but
that could happen.
And then also it was reported in 2016 that because they had a heat wave then, that the actors were all told that they weren't allowed to tan because of continuity issues. So it would look weird if they were like tan. So I was like, and that is something that hadn't even crossed my mind. So have they all been told that they're not allowed to?
Probably.
Like, what happens there?
I mean, this is like record-breaking hot though. So do we think reports will come out in like how many months that they had to stop production? Or
I think it would be. If they'd stopped production this week, I think I would have found it online somewhere that they had to stop production, because it would have been part of the drama of the heat of the week. They even had to stop filming in Corrie, kind of thing.
Fair.
So I think we probably would have heard, but I think they would have just been upping the health and safety, increased water breaks, and they probably moved more of the filming inside, would be my guess.
Fair. So you're saying in 6 to 8 weeks everything's going to be inside and it's all going to make sense?
All filming will be in the Rovers only.
Everyone's drunk the whole week.
However, Vic, another little interesting fact for you, and obviously we've talked about how the weather can stop production, but another interesting fact is that actually the weather you see on screen isn't always real. Now, you might remember this from when we did a tour of Warner Brothers Studio in America, and they were talking about rain, and frequently, because rain doesn't always, certainly wispy rain won't pick up on camera, so if they're doing a scene that requires rain, it's quite often fake, and they have fake rain machines so that it's bigger droplets of rain that come down so that it gets picked up on camera. And I was like, that itself is super interesting. Snow, if they're filming a scene that needs snow, it's unpredictable whether it will happen in this country. So, you know, they have to bring in snow.
Or sheets of cotton wool.
Or sheets of cotton wool, exactly. Or if we go back to the 30s, some asbestos. Let's throw some of that in there.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. So yeah, if we're having an episode that requires weather as part of the storyline, it is not real.
I feel so lied to. Cheaters.
I mean, honestly, who would have thought? I thought this was real. I thought I was watching a documentary.
You're saying it's not?
But yeah, essentially, the main issue with weather and the changing of the weather in terms of the behind the scenes is obviously keeping everyone safe. If it's raining heaps, if it's snowy, the cobbles. If there's strong winds, flying debris. If there's thunderstorms, obviously you can't really film outside in a thunderstorm. No. If there's heat waves, it's crew welfare and, you know, making sure everyone's hydrated and is, you know, covered and whatnot. But also, it's continuity. And that is something that I just hadn't thought about. So the next time, Vic, you're watching Coronation Street and you're seeing the residents calmly walking down the cobbles, spare a thought for what might be happening to them off screen, because it could be, Vic, that they are filming in jumpers in a heatwave because it's not going to be airing till October.
I mean, that would suck.
And now we're moving on to the final part of the show, the all-important part of the show, the reason why we are all here today, Vic. Are you moving up the Corrie Conversion scale? You have had a behind the cobbles on the weather. You've had an on the cobbles on Gary Windass and a last orders on Gary Windass. We know our murderer. Then the whodunnit. We had new storylines coming out, conclusions of old storylines, awards, and don't be daft, we're off the charts this week. Tell me, what are your thoughts, feelings? Where are you at? Are you moving?
Well, I'm so glad that we know who the murderer is. Like, when you messaged me on Monday and were like, I know who did it, I think I pretty much said, oh my god, who was it? Wait, no, don't tell me. I want to be surprised. I never in a million years thought it was going to be Sarah. She was not even on my radar of the whodunit. So, good work, Corrie, for keeping everyone on their toes. I agree with you. I do feel like they've lied to us a little bit because she wasn't a suspect. Yep. But we'll overlook that. My only next question is, now that so many people seem to know on the streets, and it is more than you would want to know for a murder, when are the police going to find out? And when is that going to come out?
That's my question too, and I don't know the answer.
Because you're right, there seems to be no evidence pointing at anyone. So...
No.
I mean...
The police haven't suspected Sarah once because she got hit over the head.
Well, yeah.
So...
I mean, lucky her getting hit over the head to give her an alibi, but... Come on, coppers.
Yeah.
What are we going to do here? I'm a bit worried that Gary's going to go down for it, but I would be interesting to see if he would flip.
Yeah.
If he did.
I wonder that too.
So I'm excited for the next phase of this whodunit. I'm glad we know. Because that's, weight off my mind. Not that not that it was on my mind.
You sound invested, Vic.
Well,
you sound invested.
Weight off my mind every time we sit here.
Yeah.
Preference that with every
You could have found out 5 days ago who done it.
Yeah, but I'd have actively Googled that.
But
I don't want
no, you'd watch it on ITV Vic, because I tell you what, that episode was pure cinema. It was so good.
Okay.
Where are you on the scale?
Also, I haven't finished.
Oh, okay,
With
okay.
the other storylines that we've said this week, I like that they're still giving you like snippets of like the Will storyline and the Harry Potter storyline and Teacher and all that, because I want to see a decent conclusion to that storyline. I don't want her to end up being murdered.
Yeah.
So, decent conclusion, please. That's all I ask.
Who don't you want to end up being murdered?
The Teacher.
Do you think she will be?
No, but I'm referencing Todd and Theo.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah.
It's just so hot.
It's so hot. So I will wrap it up on that note. Now, I think last week I was at a 4.25 or a 4. What was I?
I know, but if you can't remember, let's see where you end up.
Well, I think now that I know who's done it, being a bit disappointed that we weren't told.
Okay.
I am at a 4.5 total. Yep, 4.5. There's no other numbers than that.
I was so confused, and I was like, "You're going to go 4.56 because we're not doing that.
No,
go up by
we ain't doing that.
0.25, but we're not going up by like 0.27. No, that's not the thing. There's no rules to the conversion scale except that one.
Okay, fine. I am a 4.5, I think.
So you've gone up by 0.25 again this week. We are moving. Oh, we are so close to 5. As we all know now, I have got the September deadline. I mean, we're going to have to make some big jumps to get there, I think. But it's going in the right direction. Yeah. We are heading in the right direction. I am happy with how this week's ended. I'm happy that we can go and get ice creams and lay down because I am hot.
Very hot. This fan is not enough. I'm going to have to go find another one.
Yeah. And you've heard it here first. Why Won't You Watch Corrie week 20? Wow. Vic is finally at a 4.5. I'm Emily.
And I'm Vic.
And this is Why Won't You Watch Corrie? And if you've enjoyed the show this week, please feel free to get in touch. We are at Why Won't You Watch on all social medias, I think, that millennials know about. Anyway, if there's any more, I don't know them. We have email, whywon'tyouvwatch@gmail.com. I must apologise because someone has emailed us this week, Vic. We have had an email from Australia this week.
Wow.
I must apologise to Caroline. I will come back to you. But I have been far too hot and I haven't been able to function. But it will cool down tomorrow.
Hopefully.
And I will hopefully have responded before this podcast comes out. But but thank you for getting in touch, and I will read that properly and come back to you. And if anybody else wants to get in touch, please do. We enjoy hearing your messages.
We do.
And yeah, we do. And your feedback. And and that's it. That's it for this week. Go and enjoy it. If you're in the UK, we've only got one day left of this sunshine, so...
You can do it.
You can do it. You've got this. If you're not in the UK and you live in a hot country...
How do you do it?
How? Help us. Until next week, see ya.
Thanks. Bye.